Hey everyone, it's Sally and Harry with our Wellbeing panel. And how are you today, Harry?
I'm great. It's freezing morning, but it's good. I've got a coat on
It's
and
freezing.
I'll survive.
Freezing. Well, today I thought we'd chat about when do we start treating children like adults and all that sort of stuff. Because when it's difficult, when do we start giving them sort of more adult conversations? What are your thoughts?
I think you get enormously improved compliance if you give children choices. And I think when children are really young, you can give them choices which are framed with care and to deliver safety to them. So you don't give them choices that allow them to engage with danger.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a duty of care to look after your children. So if they're too young to cross the road, you hold their hand.
Yep.
And when they're old enough, yes, they can press the button, and then they can cross when the little green man goes across. But when I'm in the clinic and I ask kids to do stuff on my programs, I almost always give them a choice. I say, what would you like to do? And you could do this or this or this. And I give them a choice because I know that if they're involved in the choice, they're going to engage much more.
Well, they're partly committed to it, aren't they?
They're committed, yeah.
Because we started talking about this, well, actually the other week about the pantry, and you said, we're responsible for the pantry for the kids. But we just happened to then digress into, well, actually giving kids choices about what goes into the pantry so that they're more likely to engage or want to eat the things that they've had a say in. I think that's really good because, the ongoing theme is that I struggle with the kids eating as well as I'd like them to eat. And, was it last week we were talking about splitting the fridge up, which I've split the fridge up. So we'll see how that works, but they're still going for, well, the good bad, so the yogurt, but just too much of it and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We've got the hummus, we've got the yogurt, we've got the carrot sticks, we've got the everything, and it's being used, so it's good. But,
Well, I mean, in terms of the yogurt, you could get smaller pack sizes.
You could. It's just, economy of scale. It was just cheap.
Yeah,
The good quality.
that's true, it is, yeah.
So, it's more work.
But have you ever had a conversation with them about the foods that you might stock?
Yes. I never talk to kids about their weight. I always talk to them about healthy choices and healthy serving sizes, because it's not so much what you're eating, it's also about how much you're eating. And, I've got teenagers in the house and they come home starving and they woof it down. So luckily it's not unhealthy stuff, but it's just too much at the end of the day. Because schooling's difficult, isn't it? Getting the timing right with when they're eating, and they're all fueling up at the end of the day rather than the beginning of the day. Like I know the youngest one, or the middle one, went off today and didn't have breakfast because he got up 10 minutes before he had to leave. And it's sort of my cardinal rule, you can't leave the house until you've had something to eat, at least something. But I find they come home and have way too much at the end of the day rather than during the day. But getting back to choices, I think that's a really big thing, and that's not just about food, that's about lots of things. I know for discipline I've brought in the kids because the naughty stool when they were little and that sort of thing, but I say, well, what sort of things do you think should be a way of reprimanding you for doing something that was really quite naughty? And they've brought in their own ideas. It was quite funny. We used to look on the fridge of different sort of things that would incur if they crossed that line, and they made it up. And it was quite funny getting the kids involved with that sort of thing. But
often they will be harsher on themselves than you will too if you do that, have that discussion. Did you find that?
Not that harsh. No,
right.
Me, but I remember at school that they implemented that at school, don't they, as well, in some schools?
Not sure.
Yeah, anyway.
But one of the reasons why I'm a great fan of engaging the kids in major life decisions, particularly, not just, well, what are we going to have for breakfast, is a friend of mine had had his girl at Lauriston in Melbourne, which is a very
Well, that's where my daughter's at. She's just gone off to Helper.
very, very upmarket school. And she was in picking up bad habits from the group she was in at Lauriston, and it didn't match with the family's culture.
Mm-hmm.
So the dad just took her out.
Oh, wow.
And that generated a whole lot of ill feeling for about 7 or 8 years.
Whoa.
Now, if he'd had the discussion with her, that would have been quite different.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is really important when you're looking for a school for your child is bring the kid along too to the interviews, and make it a joint decision, because it's the child's future.
You're spot on, spot on. You know, we did exactly that with my daughter, and I think there's only one other girl that went from her school to Lauriston, but we took her around to all the different schools and left the decision up to her. You know, I went to another school that was just down the road, and I would have loved to have gone there. But at the end of the day, I thought she was responsible enough. It was in grade 5. She was adult enough to make an informed decision, something that felt right with her. And she actually resonated with the energy, the vibe that she got walking around the school. And in the end, so far, it's been the best choice ever. And unfortunately for my boys, there was no option, because they're in private, and private schools in Melbourne are very difficult. It was basically wherever we could get them in. In the end, it's turned out fine, but it could have been different if they had their choices. I don't know. I mean, they haven't complained and they seem quite happy, but particularly girls, I find mature a little bit earlier. And Charlie, she was really on really, Mum, no, this is for me. This is what I want. And it was actually maybe before grade 5. So how old are you there? Like 8? You're coming back to the age of kids making decisions and being involved in choices. Even I think from kindy age, kids understand stuff. I don't know. What are your thoughts on age?
Well, I think they're maturing earlier, no doubt about that.
Yep.
And a lot of kids have great wisdom. And so, for instance, when I decided that I wanted to move the family from Melbourne to Darwin, which is from a Mediterranean climate to the equatorial climate. It's a big move.
Yeah.
Massive move, 3,000 K or whatever. I brought back a whole lot of videos, and I brought back my stories, and I shared them with the family around one evening. And I said, you've all got a week to think about this. We're going to make a decision in a week, and you all have one vote. There were 5 of us. And I said, if anybody says no, we won't go. You all have the right of veto. And I did that because I did not want anybody to feel they were being forced to go there. We had a vote in a week, and they all said, yeah, we'll give it a go.
Yep.
And so everybody went up willingly. Yeah, it was a bit scary. It was very different, but I didn't have any pushback.
Well, I was going to say you wouldn't get much backlash over that, because everybody made a choice and are responsible for that choice, as a group, but also as an individual. They had that option and they decided, no, let's do it together. That's awesome. And even holidays, I struggle with my kids because they go, you're forcing us to go here or there. And I go, no, I just like to go somewhere. But, it's difficult with 4 kids saying, where do you want to go? Because they all have they just have different places. So like, it's difficult, but finding that compromise together. But I think having kids involved with choices, it's a really good thing. And it's a good point that you brought up about the pantry, get them to come shopping and then choose what they really, their healthy versions or whatever.
And have a discussion about why it's important, because it is important. And, you've got the pensioner in front of you who has 7 frozen lunches and 7 frozen dinners in their trolley and maybe a bottle of scotch. And you look at that and you think, well, maybe that's not such a good choice, and have a discussion about why. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I love that. Yeah, joint decisions, food, holidays, even schooling. I think that schooling point was really good, because it can make you or break you, and as you
I
said,
mean, with the holidays, you've got how many holidays have you got left until they leave home?
oh, I know.
20?
Yeah, not many.
Well, maybe 10. Well, I mean, so you could vote on, well, who's going to get the choice this time and who's going to
Yeah.
get the choice next time. And so everybody gets a go at where they want to go.
Yeah. We do that with meals once a week.
Yeah.
Once a week they get something I actually like. Ridiculous.
What did they choose last time, out of interest?
Well, last night, luckily, not luckily, but my daughter's away for the year, and she really loves tacos. We make homemade tacos, and we put in lettuce cups and stuff, and the others can't stand it, and they go like, no, not again. And then another one likes chicken schnitzel. One likes lamb, one likes chicken, one doesn't really like meat, whatever. I used to do something different every night, and I thought, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We used to go to different countries, so we'd pick up different countries and then have a theme night once a week. So it might be Japanese or it might be Thai or whatever, and we'd pick a dish. But that's quite fun to do.
Yeah.
Once again, they had a choice in it. And so, I don't like Japanese. Well, it's not your choice this week. Oh man, kids, hey. But as you said, they're very wise, and as you said, they're developing or having that wisdom and able to make decisions. I really see that at a younger age.
And I think being exposed to media brings their maturity forwards. They're exposed to adult ideas very early. The period with which a child believes in Father Christmas, I think, is shrinking, which I think is a pity.
It is.
So they're growing up quicker. So we've got to match that with the way we parent.
Yeah, engage them more through the choices. I think that's great. Get them more as a unity. Yeah. Oh.
And if they're making bad choices, then let's have a discussion about consequences.
Yep.
So, for instance, we're going to bed with cell phones. Let's discuss about the value of turning off the Wi-Fi or putting them on airline mode, or maybe there's another way we could set the alarm for the morning.
Oh, I want to bring up that picture of what you posted yesterday. It's like, and I showed my kids, and they were just so ready to poo-poo it. It's like, oh, Mum, that's some thermal stuff, but it was all the radiation effects of cell phones. I'm just bringing it up now. Here it is. Can you see that?
Yep.
So that picture, which one's which? That one's...
The red one is after 15 minutes. So it shows the heat going through the head.
Look what it does to your head. It scares me. That's 15 minutes.
So the issue is around young kids with immature nervous systems. That's the concern. Right. We just don't know.
Yeah.
And really important to use the hands-free.
Yeah, well, I was reading all about France and how they're just banning Wi-Fi, and they're banning a whole heap of stuff because of the effects of radiation. It's frightening. It's frightening. But anyway, Harry, I think we might wrap it up there. That was awesome, actually. Really good food for thought, giving kids more choices, and then, consequences for the role aspect of that. Yeah, and choices in schooling, choices in food, choices in holidays, choices in punishment, engaging them more so that it's a joint movement. It's us and them. It's just us and us. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because they're friends. At the end of the day, they're going to be friends.
Yeah. And
sometimes you have to be a parent, but often you can just talk to them like a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely. Great food for thought once again. I always love chatting with you, Harry. Tuesdays are my favourite day.
Yeah, me too, Sally. Yeah, it's awesome.
I love just chatting with you about these interesting topics because, it's just repeating things that I've forgotten about or learning things I haven't known, and I just love it. It just helps me get through my weeks. So thank you. Big kiss.
Yeah.
Okay, darling. I'll see you soon.
So what are we going to talk about next week? Can we do a seed sheet on